All right. Hey, y'all, it's Ayana Sunshine, and welcome to the Everything Grows podcast, where we speak about growing exactly from where you are. Today, we have Myles Alston, and I'm going to read a short bio. Born in the era of Nerd, Dragon Ball Z reruns, and Orange Nickelodeon VHS tapes, I have always been a student in the University of Pop Culture. Raised in Prince George's County, Maryland, right outside of the nation's capital, I was blessed to be raised in the middle of a cultural melting pot. By leveraging cultural insight, inclusivity, and principles of design, I work to elevate everyday moments into lush, broad worlds. Passionate about art history, luxury handbags, and developing leaders, I merge my talent and passion to create game changing creative. We have Myles Alston. Class.
Yeah.
Welcome, friend.
Thanks for having me, man.
Thank you so much for joining me. Myles was someone, when I first thought of having a podcast, I thought of Myles first because he is one of the most intelligent people that I know. And not only is he intelligent, it's just he's a genius the way that he pieces things together. And you're going to see throughout conversation just how his mind works to develop exactly what he said, create game changing creative. Like that's exactly what it is. So first, Myles, I want to start with three words: threaded by community.
Yeah, that's the vibe. That's the one.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Threaded by community. Cool. So I think, the way that I get into creative and the way that I've kind of learned how to get into the field and the industry that I'm in. So I work in advertising. As an art director, is through exactly that, being threaded through community. And what that directly means is when I was at North Carolina Central University in undergrad, I really took advantage of a lot of opportunities that were put in front of me. I even kind of went and grabbed some too for myself. And I designed a whole bunch of shirts for the university. So the first thing I really got to make was on a scale of thousands of people from the first time I made it. So that's where Threaded from Community comes from. And essentially, it kind of goes into the way that I view advertising and all of my work. Like every single thing that I make is inclusive at its core, because community is what gave me the base to create anything or even to start creating. So I think it's really important to make sure that I show up for marginalized individuals, those who, feel a certain type of way but are kind of scared to like say things sometimes, or just somebody who would like to have a certain position or angle in the world but might feel a little uncomfortable voicing that due to it maybe not being a popular opinion or how somebody might feel about it.
So, Myles, before we get to some of your unpopular opinions,
Yeah.
let's talk about what did it make you feel like maybe the first time you walked into the gym and you saw everybody in something that you created.
I think the moments that hit me before I see like everybody wearing it, it's like seeing the actual like bulk of product. It's like when the t-shirts come in the boxes, because like before then it's just like something that's on Photoshop, but like when they come in boxes, it's like, oh, okay, this is real. Like, and I think by the time where we get in the point where we're in front of people, we're passing stuff out, we're selling something, like it's just happening so fast, I kind of just like don't really get a chance to relish in that moment. But I think the moments that I appreciate is like afterwards, when I'm out the event or when I know people are going home, because I know like I made something that's like a memento that like represents a moment in time for them, whatever that may be. So I think I kind of get more out of just knowing that like it did create a moment for somebody.
Yes. I love that. So, in also creating shirts, you were also a member of the Student Activities Board. And not only a member, you were a leader. So, can you talk to us a little bit about that? What was your position? What did you do? And of course, like, how did you bring the fun to North Carolina Central?
Yeah, cool. So when I was in undergrad, I did a couple years with Student Activities Board. The first year I was a graphic design and marketing chair. The second year I was vice president, and then for a little bit I got to be president.
Why was that? Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
And the first one, the marketing graphic design chair, when I first got that position, like my roommate and my line brother now, he low-key lied from me. He was like, yeah, I know somebody who knows how to do graphic design and do any type of graphic design. Really, I was just like practicing.
Say the name.
Jamal Cersei, that's my guy, man. Ah, that's hilarious. But like, I was in a position, and I just had to start making stuff. So like, I started making flyers, and
Mm-hmm.
it went to T-shirts
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. And then it went from that to getting the vice president, a position where I was like a little bit more in charge of like programming.
Mm-hmm.
So it went to booking concert artists or, arranging venues and things like that. And then towards the president term, and even after, then it kind of went to like the more so political side of trying to figure out how to make things go to and fro. Just like
Mm-hmm.
as a student, I think a lot of students underestimate like the power that they have while they're like in school and the things that they can change.
Yep.
So like towards the end, it was more so about kind of setting up those things to make sure that the people after me could like continue to make more things.
And what was it in you that from the first time you got yourself in that graphic design spot that was like, yeah, I could keep on going up, or I could keep on going up? Like, what was it that was like, yeah, you can do it?
I think it was just like the innate want to learn, to be honest with you. Like nobody ever taught me Photoshop.
Mm-hmm.
I literally remember like when I got introduced to Photoshop, I was working for the School of Business for Central, like my freshman year. Somebody was like, "Hey, I need a flyer. Have you ever seen Photoshop before?" And I was like, "No, I've never heard of it." And they downloaded the trial version to my computer, and I made a flyer. I literally remember the flyer was a Shark Tank, like business event, and I was like, "Yo, this is so cool." And I went back, and I just kept messing around with it. And I was like, "Yo, Dad, like you got to give me a subscription. I need this." And he
Yes.
got he got me a subscription, and I got on YouTube, and I just started like when I started making things or things I thought I wanted to make, I would just go on YouTube if I didn't know what I was doing and find like the answer and then figure it out.
So, what do you like more? Do you like creating from your own inspiration, or do you like commissioning? I know the answer, but I just want to hear what you got to say.
I enjoy creating from my own inspiration. I think I create so many ideas a day that I even just have to write them down. But like when I can really, yeah, so when I can really get the chance to really put them out into the world, I really enjoy that. But I think I appreciate it because I do commissions and I spend a lot of my time helping other people get their ideas out to the world. So when I do have that time where I can say, "All right, Miles, it's your turn to figure out how we're going to like do your thing," I really appreciate like the extra little,
Mm-hmm.
cherry on top that you can put on there.
So, no logo pack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No logo pack. Okay, so the no logo pack was a set of four stickers that I created in 2020. It was like December 2020 when everything was kind of crazy, and I didn't really know like how to express myself during the time or what I could do to help, or even just how to feel as a black person in the world. So I did what I naturally do. I started making things, and I created a pack of stickers that said Black Lives Matter. And through that, I took four logos, and their logos everybody recognizes, like Powerpuff Girls, Washington Nationals,
Mm-hmm.
Wu Tang Clan. And the message overall is like no brand, no company, no matter what they own, is bigger than the message of Black Lives Mattering. And I should be able to take your logo
Mm-hmm.
to put that message in front of it, and you should, as a brand, want to stand behind that because what we're saying is true.
Mm-hmm. And short. What is the brand of Miles? What does that look like? I always call you like a silent, a humble flex. That's what I always say. Miles is a humble flex. But what is Miles's brand?
Well, this is my brand behind me, honestly, in this poster right here. Just in case people who don't look at this podcast in a visual aspect, I'll describe it. It is a really big, like 18 by 24 poster with a depiction of a sky, a cloudy sky. On it, it says, "If you look in the sky and don't see your dreams, don't feel defeated. Trust me, you can build it." It's a quote by Pharrell Williams. At the bottom, it has my logo. It says, "No ifs, just wins." 2022 to XXXX. So this is actually my vision board for 2022. But in terms of just like putting out ideas into the world, with this being my vision board and elevating it from just a vision board to actual piece of art,
Mm-hmm.
it transitions the actual meaning of like what a vision board is and what it represents. So this is like the first piece of art that I've ever printed out of all the years I've ever been a graphic designer. It's the first thing I've ever made that has my name on it. So at the end of 2022, this year, I'm going to auction it off.
Yay.
Yeah.
And what things from that vision what things have already manifested for you?
I think one of the biggest things about this right here is understanding that sometimes, even if you don't see the path, it doesn't necessarily mean that there's not going to be one.
Yes.
And one of those is kind of me going back and helping people learn about creative problem solving, and doing that in a way where I can enhance not just somebody's life, but the possibility of the quality of life that they'd be able to access.
Mm-hmm. Love
Yeah.
it. Yes. And you talk about creating things. Chips Ahoy commercial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I work for a advertising agency in New York, and I've been there for almost a year. Yep. And
Congratulations.
thank you. One of the first accounts I was put on was Chips Ahoy. So um, I got a chance to make my first commercial on TV and to see how a commercial goes from the actual concept to storyboard to working with animators or whoever it may be to put
Mhm.
together a piece of work. Really kind of showed me, like, how much collaboration is needed to truly get something from like the beginning of an idea to put out in the world.
Yes, I love that. And then when you talk about making your ideas, well, before then, you also just graduated from school. So, how
Yes.
was that experience? Talk to us about that. And I kind of want you to talk about from your transition from undergrad
Mm-hmm.
to grad, and just like the building blocks in between, and then also going through.
I got you.
Yes.
So before I graduated from Central, I was at an agency in North Carolina called McKinney. It's like one of the top ad agencies in this state, and honestly, it's like one of the only ones really. And the commercials that they make that you might be familiar with is like Little Caesar commercials. They make those.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Samsung commercials and things like that. I forgot half the question. My
Oh,
bad.
oh yeah. I was asking you about where you were before you got to grad school and that transition, and then going through grad school.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I was interning there. And while I was in the office, I was quite vocal. I was the only black male creative, black male almost anything, honestly. And I think it's really important to talk to your creative higher ups and have an honest conversation. So, let's go in this man's office. His name was Jonathan Koo, great man. And I used to be like, yo, this is how I feel about being like the only like black man in your office. And he
Mm-hmm.
understood me and he felt me. To which he introduced me to the director of the brand center. It's a black man by the name of Van Graves.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me about VC Brand Center, which I had no clue about. I had no clue that like you can formally get trained in education and get a degree. I mean, formally trained in creativity and get like a top master's degree in it. And I applied and I
Mm-hmm.
got in. So I just graduated from the Brand Center with my master's in art direction. It's
Yes.
the number one advertising program in the country.
Brand a little bit, friend.
Yeah, so it was cool, but the only part that was a little different was I was the only black male art director in the entire program my whole 2 years there. So like a lot of ideas I was putting out into the world that I think could have like really resonated with a lot of people. Most of the people who I was putting those ideas into the world around weren't really like fruitful to understanding uh, my approach or my vision of how I interpreted different things.
Yeah. And I hear you talking a lot about networking, but what I wrote is, why is it important to network up? Because I know that you network with people around you, but you are very intentional about connecting with people who are in spaces that you want to be in.
Yeah, it's important to network up because a lot of times the people around you don't have the viewpoint or the like leverage to see the things that you need to get to where you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
And when you network up, you're able to communicate with somebody who can give you the layout of the land while you may not be on that level just yet. So it's an easier way to kind of like move up and get to places when you really take the time and sit and listen to the people who have been in there. Even if it's not necessarily exactly what you want to do, it's like a cheat code. 9 times out of 10, if you just sit down and shut the hell up and listen to somebody, it'll probably tell you everything that you need to get to where you want to go.
Yeah. The other day I was watching something, just really quick. I was watching something, and this guy was talking about how he would pay people upwards of $5, $6, $7,000 for their time, and he'll sit with like the top people of the world because he paid for their time, and he's just asking them questions. Like you said, if you be quiet half the time, they'll give you that information. So what kind of advice would you have for somebody who's trying to get in these spaces, or not even trying to get in these spaces, but trying to get in any space, about communicating with people that might be on a different level, we'll say, than them?
I think the first thing is to understand that you deserve to be in that space.
That's why I got you on here.
You know, even if you don't see somebody who looks like you're doing what you want to do, you deserve to be in that space, and you deserve to be in that space simply because you want to be in that space. You know, nobody can tell you otherwise. As long as you're actively working and you're ambitious about your way of getting to what you want to do, and you're true and you're pursuing passion of it.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Thank you for saying that. Thank you. That's exactly what I needed you to say. Not even I wanted you to say, what I needed you to say. And,
you know, it's really true.
Yeah, it really is true, because a lot of people don't understand that just because you have an idea, you're supposed to flesh it out and dip your toe in it. At least
100%.
Try to learn a little bit about it so that you can grow right from there. Look, you can grow right from there.
Yeah.
Get your little golden nuggets and see, maybe I don't like this, but I like this. Has there ever been a time for you with a part of graphic design that you've tried and you've just been like, that's not necessarily for me?
Yeah, illustration. Like, I can't draw for shit. Like, at all. I can make all types of things, but like when it comes to like actually sitting down and drawing, I can't do any of that. So like being able to understand like, okay, well, this is an area I lack in. Although like I could say I'm just gonna leave it right here and I'm not good. One thing I'm trying to do now is I got a sketchbook and I'm just like trying to draw, and they look god awful. Like some of that stuff is bad, but like the point is trying to find my own unique style and however I draw, so I can figure out what makes my drawing different than anybody else's, so I can pull that out. And I think 9 times out of 10, no matter if you're trying to figure out if you can draw or if you want to be an actor on what type of show or whatever you want to do, like if you really sit down and you analyze like what makes you special in your approach to this, I think that's like where you find how you can win. Mm-hmm. Instead of like looking outward and looking around to other people saying like, okay, why did they do this, or why is this happening like this? Oh, I need to do X, Y, and Z. Like that's not necessarily true. Those people don't have the answer just because you see them doing it. And I think we get too caught up in like the things that are right in front of us or the people who are doing the things in our face. And it's easy to do that on social media because you scroll and you see, like, for example, I love like layering of clothes. I can scroll 5 times and see some 16-year-old kid in Japan making something crazy, and then somebody in Cincinnati making something stupid. And I'm just like, well, what have I done in the past enter X amount of time? But like in all that time of me sitting there trying to figure out like, yo, what's going on? I could have sat there and been like, damn, why do I like layering of clothes? What specifically do I like about that? And I could have been trying to find my pursuit as to why I have a specific approach or likening of something.
Mm-hmm. I was just talking to our friend Devontae, who'll be on the podcast in next month sometime soon. I was talking to him about that and me starting my podcast, and how there were people that I was looking at and not necessarily comparing us to, but comparing us to see what do they have and what do I have, what do they have and what do I have, instead of now when I have released the podcast, more so thinking, what do I offer to people that Ayana can only offer? Mm-hmm. Because there's only one Ayana. Ayana's going to deliver it only the way that Ayana's going to do it. So that's very, very important. And just for everyone out there, if you're going to do something, whatever your mind says is the way to do it, that's the way to do it. You don't have to look at anybody else's blueprint. Of course, sometimes we need advice, but you don't have to look at anybody else's actual blueprint or building blocks to build something for yourself. It's going to come because you're going to go after what you like and you're going to be excited about it. And Myles, talking about going after things that you like, we see that you have a love for music so much that you decided to step into DJing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been DJing for maybe 3 or 4 years now, but I have only like started doing events like 2 years ago.
Yes.
And things like that. I really enjoy playing music from all around the world and mixing them together. I really love house music. I think as like Black people, we need to claim house music back. You know, I think.
Who are your favorite house artists? So the people can know to listen to some people.
Oh man. That's a hard one off the top of the head, you know. And I say that because like I got a lot of music. Let me give you some real quick. Let me look.
Yes, he's going to the playlist, y'all.
I
So we gonna get
am.
the real
I gotta
deal.
go to like the secret stash playlist. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, yes, yes. Good the time.
There's a band called Kink.
Okay.
I've listened to like them a lot recently, and there's this
K
dude
K-I-N-K, K-Y-N-K.
Kink,
Okay.
and it might be a group, but they're called Moma Ready. Some
Okay.
black dudes. They're tough, fire. So those are two that are like real easy into like house music vibes, but you can really get like a feel for it.
Okay. And what song or what songs, because you might not have just one, would be on the soundtrack for your life?
The song for the soundtrack for my life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you Can Do It Too by Pharrell.
Okay.
That would definitely be on there. Um, Don't Stop Me Now by Queen would be on there.
Okay.
That's kind of all I got for now, right now,
For right
honestly, off
now,
the top of the head. Yeah.
that's good. That's good. And Miles, tell us, where can we see you growing from here?
The best place to connect and see what I'm putting out into the world is Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
I love to interact back and forth with people. You can follow me at Maker Miles, Makermyles, with a
Okay.
Y. It's important, y'all. um, yeah, and then also over my website, MylesAlston.com. That's where you can buy my merch and my collaborations and different pieces that I'm putting out into the world.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much, Miles. And y'all let me know if y'all want Miles back on the podcast. This is actually my first podcast, and I'm so excited that we got it done. And I think it was amazing. How do you feel, friend?
No, this has been great. Like I've had a great time. And I've never been like interviewed for like really anything outside of like a job before. So I'm
Yes.
just like, wow, this is amazing.
I told Miles I have to get his first interview before he blows up.
Oh, you definitely
So
said
the
that. Now
people,
we're here and look
yeah,
where
so
we're
the
at,
people
man.
in the future, when Miles blows up and they come back and they're watching our podcast, they're gonna know
Facts.
what's up. They're gonna know some early stuff. There's some things that we didn't get into, but of course, still follow Miles and see what he's up to. And we'll probably have him back soon. We're gonna have multiple seasons. We got some good things coming up. My mom is coming on the podcast. Some of my mentors are coming on the podcast, more friends. So just stay tuned. If you're on YouTube, like, comment, and subscribe. If you're on Facebook, like, and all other platforms, just like it up and share it if you loved it. And I appreciate y'all. So keep growing from where you are. Love y'all.